No! God, please, no! 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 No!
What do you think happens when you get your predator shot down? Do you say, oh, what the hell, and go get a cup of coffee? You sit there and cry yourself to bed and your pillow? Or...
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Mondays with Mover. I am Mover, C.W. Lemoine, author of the Spectre series and the Alex Shepard series, Absolute Vengeance, and I am the Sheepdog. Today we're going to talk about the new Top Gun 2 movie, Top Gun Maverick is what it's called. Take a drive in the Camaro here and talk about it, but first we'll talk about the book stuff to start off. As for progress goes, Spectre Book 8, 20 chapters in, so it's progressing. I guess that's about a third, maybe a fourth of the way in as far as word count goes. Slowly but surely, been a little busy. May slow down a little bit in the next week or so. As far as the movie stuff goes, we've actually working with a screenwriter, someone who does developmental scripts, and the plan is to develop some of the books into something, maybe a 10-episode, 12-episode serial, like something you'd see on Netflix. So that's pretty exciting, but that's going to take a little bit of time. So that may be a little bit of a distraction. The plan is to get everything done prior to me going to the Air Force. About 2 weeks ago, actually the same time that the Top Gun movie was being filmed, I swore into the Air Force Reserve, as I talked about. I'm now in the Air Force Reserve, and in July I'm going to start flying the T-38A adversary for the F-22 down in Tyndall. So really excited about that, but that's obviously going to be a pretty busy time for me. So let's go take a ride, and let's talk about the new Top Gun movie. All right, so Top Gun 2, aka Top Gun Maverick, was announced officially that filming had begun at Navy North Island back about 10 days ago on the 30th of May, 29th, 30th, I think is when they were doing that, which ironically is the day I swore into the Air Force. But they did some filming at NASNY, which is Navy North Island. I've been there a bunch of times. We've done exercises out of North Island. It's a great base. Has nothing to do with Top Gun. Absolutely nothing to do with the current situation. The filming that they have, there's been some leaked footage of Maverick on his motorcycle, and I think it was a scene, they're recreating the scene of him, you know, doing the fist pump towards the F-18. That's all cool. Really excited about that part. It was a Super Hornet, so that's great. Will it suck? Well, it depends on what they do. I've heard rumors, rumblings that they may, the unmanned combat aerial vehicle and the Triton aerial vehicle that the Navy has, that they're going to use UAVs. I know prior to this they had talked about maybe integrating more UAV-related stuff instead of the air-to-air dogfighting stuff. Tom Cruise has said, no, there's going to be fighter jets in it.
You got it. What
okay,
are you?
There's going to be aircraft carriers.
Yes.
There's going to be jets.
Drones.
There's going to be jets.
Drones.
There's going to be jets.
And I think the Hollywood insiders are now saying it could be a mix. So what'll make this movie suck? UAVs. Anything with unmanned vehicles, guys flying drones, is going to be terrible. Nobody wants to see that. I mean, for the last 15 years, drones have been, you know, kind of a sore subject, at least for Air Force pilots, because of TAMI 21, which was an initiative that they took rated fighter pilots that were in their first assignment, or just finishing their first assignment, and sent them to drones, which is a dead end. There was no way out. I had a good friend that happened to. Luckily, now he's flying F-16, so he got out, but definitely didn't help his career progression at all. So nobody wants to see UAVs. Nobody wants to see drones. It's going to flop absolutely on its face. If they do anything with drones, it's going to be miserable. However, will it be awesome? It could be. I mean, this is 2018. As long as they stay away from the CGI and go back, I know the Navy has not officially said they're going to support the filming. They did allow the Super Hornet filming at North Island, but they haven't officially said we're going to be a part of the filming like they were in the first movie. First Top Gun movie was 1986. I was 3 years old, so it didn't exactly do much for me, but I watched it when I was a teenager, especially, you know, talking about doing the Texas Air Aces and stuff I did. I mean, I was obsessed with that movie. I used to watch. I had the, you know, leather jacket and the Ray-Ban aviators and all that stuff. So it's definitely a good recruiting tool that's very influential for both the Navy and the Air Force, because people don't know the difference. She met one of the pilots from the Top Gun movie. He flew one of the F-5s, and I met him down in Homo when I was flying the L-39 with the lawyer. And he told me he was part of the scene, you know, where they're inverted, and he gives him the finger. Well, they couldn't have him roll inverted over him. A lot of it had to do with the speeds. The limiting factor was the speed of the chase aircraft, the Learjet that they used. So what they did to make that scene happen is they had the Tomcat inverted, so he rolled inverted, and then they had the F5 fly up underneath it, and they spliced it to make it look a little better. But you know, movie magic and stuff. Most of the Top Gun scenes in that movie, most of the dogfighting scenes and stuff, they're, you know, they're actually in what the Navy calls tail chase. The Air Force calls it, you know, extended fighting wing or whatever. You know, they're just following them around. That's not real dogfighting. That's not what it looks like. You know, I've got GoPro footage of dogfighting, and the problem is, in fact, you know, that Su-30 video I showed you of Donkey fighting the flanker, it's so far away. I mean, you're talking the bubble, you know, that we talk about. The bubble is the minimum radius you can get. In the Air Force, it's 500 feet. So, you know, that's a really long distance for cameras, and it looks farther than it actually is, so it's very hard to pick up. I mean, with cameras today, 4K cameras, I have no doubt they could do it. But, you know, with camera technology back in the 80s, yeah, I could see it being a factor, but, you know, real dogfighting doesn't look like that. And what's changed since the last Top Gun? Well, I mean, a lot of things have happened. Tail hooks happened. O-clubs aren't really what O-clubs used to be back in the, you know, the 80s. It's not really the hangout spot. They don't allow civilians on base to do that anymore. Top Gun has moved to Fallon. So it used to be at Miramar. Miramar is now Miramar Marine Corps Air Station, which is awesome. A place to go. I did my missile shoot 2 years ago out of Miramar, and that was a great experience. I ran a missile shoot exercise. I shot an AIM-9, and it was a lot of fun. But it doesn't exist anymore as far as, you know, the Navy goes. In fact, Top Gun is now Nautic, or as we like to call it, Nazi, even though that pisses off the Top Gun guys. I think it's the Naval Aviation Warfare Development Center. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll put the actual whatever it stands for. Nobody really cares. But it's at Fallon. I've done a lot of support at Fallon. In fact, you know, as an adversary pilot, I kind of did what Jester and Viper would do as far as that. But it's mostly large force exercises out there. You know, SFARPs is what they are called for the fleets to come out and train. But that is where Top Gun is, and that's where it all happens. So it's out in the desert in Nevada, so it's not exactly, you know, a cush location. You're not going to be at the beach or playing volleyball. Well, I mean, I guess you could play volleyball. But anyway, so a lot of things change. I think they have the opportunity to do it right. I mean, there's a lot of air-to-air threats that they can use. In fact, they can use realistic-looking fighters if they used any of the contract red airs. Draken, ATAC, they're all using very realistic stuff, so I absolutely think it's possible to do that. Whether they do it or not, I have no idea. So that's one of the... But anyway, it's a lot of potential for something to be very good, a lot of potential for it to be very bad. Tom Cruise is a pilot now. I don't think he was a pilot in the first time, so he's taken an interest in flying, which I think is going to help because, you know, the more aviation oriented it is, the better.
The need for speed. We're going to have big, fast machines. And look, I'm a pilot. I personally, you know, these movies, it's going to be a competition film.
There's a lot of different plot lines they can use. The thing about drones, if you use drones are a very vital part of what we do, and they, special operations uses drones and stuff, but this is not that kind of movie. I mean, it's not a close air support movie. It's not a intelligence surveillance ISR kind of movie. It is a movie about egos and dogfighting and air-to-air, stuff, which still exists. I mean, we still, we train to the air-to-air threat. The F-22 trains to the air-to-air threat, the F-15, the F-16, F-18, it's all still a very vital thing, especially when you get in a North Korea scenario or a Chinese scenario or even a Russian scenario. The threat still exists. The problem is, breaking that down to something that's, going to be entertaining. A drone, a guy sitting in a cubicle. I mean, you're not going to do air-to-air with a drone, so that's not going to be realistic. And, a guy sitting on an orbit for 6-7 hours is definitely not going to be realistic, especially if he's in a Connex container. It's like the song, the Dos Gringos song. By the way, that's the Predator eulogy. Well, what do? Go get a cup of coffee and say, screw it, move on with your life. I mean, there's really nothing, there's no drama to it. And, if they use CGI, that's the other part. I mean, they have the opportunity to use it, to use real aircraft, they should. It just depends on how to run. Granted, this will not be a realistic movie. Top Gun 1 was not a realistic movie. Top Gun 1 was not anywhere close to realism. I understand that. I write myself. I try to write as realistic as possible, but I understand that Hollywood's not going to do it because that's not what sells. Even when we're talking about these scripts that we're writing, they're like, well, hey, why don't you change this and stuff? Even though it's more realistic, they don't want to have anything to do with it. So it's still something that they're going to have to deal with, which is fine. It doesn't have to be realistic. It just can't be stupid. Don't make it something that's so far-fetched and so outlandish that, it's insulting to the people that actually do it. So I'm hoping that with a little bit of finesse, they'll have some good screenwriters, they'll have some good technical advisors that'll make it something that's worthwhile, and it'll make it something that, everybody will want to see, and then they'll stay far away from that misplaced idea that they need to do drones, because they don't. Drones are not going to be a good part of it. So anyway, that's my take on it. Hopefully, we get some more information as it goes, and then, we just go from there. So, okay, that's launch mode, and hands off, go. Back in 2004, and even before that I had a 94 Corvette LT1. So I'm used to rolling the gears myself, but this is the fastest shifting automatic, and it just hooks. There's no spinning, there's no lost power or anything like that. It just hooks. It's always on demand. It's always available. It's a lot of fun to drive, and the launch control. I know there's settings I can set up to make it. Change the amount of wheel spin available. You can change some of the settings and stuff like that. I've been reading about. I still don't have enough mileage, or I don't have enough miles to go to the track yet. But as soon as I do, I plan on doing that. So I am planning soon, as soon as I can figure out the best way to do it, of releasing a chapter per episode. So, starting with the prologue, which starts in North Korea in this Spectre Book 8. And then, we'll talk about it, see if you guys like it. And then also, Mover Mailbag. So if you answer or ask a question and it is featured, and you are a subscriber of the channel, I will send you a signed copy of one of the books. That's the deal. So, ask me a question, it gets read on this, I use it, and I'll send you a signed copy of in the book, probably Absolute Vengeance, because that's what I have. But that'll probably be the incentive going forward. So what's the answer? Is Top Gun going to be a flop? Standard fighter pilot answer: it depends. If they use CGI and do a lot of drone stuff, yeah, probably just be a rental. But obviously these aren't documentaries, so it really doesn't matter if they're completely accurate. Just no drones, please. But if they don't, they use real airplanes like last time, and they, the Navy's involved in the filming, and they get some good advisors. Yeah, I think it could be a really good recruiting tool for our looming fighter pilot shortage, and probably increase morale and be a good movie to go watch. So, anyway, hope you liked this video. If you did, please leave a like, thumbs up, comment. Leave any questions you have for the Mover mailbag in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.